Hello, this is Wmpyr. Alright, so this video might be a little bit controversial, but that's not the reason why I'm making this video. Um, yeah, so let me go ahead and get started. The topic is Balintawak. Okay, I gotta first say that I am not a Balintawak practitioner, so I want to make that clear. However, I have been doing Filipino martial arts for a very long time, and to me, Balintawak is actually quite similar to some of the styles that I have learned in the past that were FMA, because Balintawak is Filipino martial arts. Um, and the goal here is not to put down Balintawak because I love Filipino martial arts, and since Balintawak is part of Filipino martial arts, that means I love Balintawak too, using the same logic. Um, especially when it comes to Kia, Kali, Escrima, Arnis. I am a big, big fan, and I've been telling you guys to evolve your style of Kia, and people might think like if you love the style, then why do you need to change it? Why do you need to evolve it? And um, it seems like I'm being disrespectful, but it's actually the way that I see it is I'm evolving it because I love it, if that makes sense. If you really, really like something, you want it to be yours. You want it to fit you. So let's say I'm gonna buy clothes, right? And if I just buy clothes that close to my size, something that's gonna work for me, that's one thing. But if I take the time to go to the tailor, that means I think this clothing is worth it to pay that extra money to have it adjusted to fit me right. Um, then it's a little bit more special. You see what I mean? So, and the other thing is evolution is change, but evolution sounds like I'm making it better. Therefore, the original is not as good, and what I'm doing is better. That's what it sounds like, and that's not what it is. To evolve something means it fits the new environment. Scientifically, that's what it means. Are we superior to dinosaurs? No. I mean, if we lived back in their age, we would get annihilated and dominated. But in today's age, those guys can't. They probably the climate and all that. It doesn't work well for them. So it's different. Um, Therefore, change is necessary. My experiences, my life, where I live in today, the world today is different from when Filipino martial arts was first designed, or maybe, every 50 years, time the situation has changed. Maybe every 100 years, it's been around for a long time. Um, so for the new situation, today's world, modern day world, I'm adapting it to that. I'm adapting it to me, to my ideas, to where because I'm the one that's going to be using it. So to me, there's nothing wrong with that. I am not saying that the original is bad and mine is better. No, I like the original, so I want to use it. I want to use it, and that's all I'm doing. I'm organizing it the way that I want. I'm putting it together the way that I want. I'm learning it the way that I want. Um, so to me, that is what Professor Remy Pressas said, you know, which was make it your own. So that's it. I feel like I'm still following traditional Filipino martial arts. Uh, according to Professor Remy Presas's idea that you're supposed to do that. So, and I believe that's not just for FMA or Kia. I believe that it is for all martial arts. You're supposed to do that. And I would say the same for Balintawak. So I don't feel that I am against Balintawak. I feel that if you love Balintawak, you should evolve it for you. Now, I don't have anything against people that want to do the the exact traditional way and photocopy it. Like they don't want to change anything and keep it as pure as possible. That's fine for textbook purposes, and I don't see a problem with that at all, but you have to make it clear that that is what you're doing. Don't tell me that your style's not realistic, because learning and application is two different things. So that's another thing that I'm saying for all martial arts. Um, the best example I could give you guys is like if you look at traditional jiu-jitsu, they were just practicing the techniques. It was like a technique oriented. Learn these 24 techniques or whatever. They teach you the techniques, and then you take turns with a partner doing the techniques over and over and over and over again. And then I believe that was pretty much it. And then of course, Jigoro Kano Sensei came and developed judo, which now included the sparring and the competition aspect, which that is the application part that the traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu was missing. And so he created a format in which you could, because before that in traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, the idea was, well, can we train this a little bit more other than just take turns doing it on each other without resistance? And they were like, no, it's too dangerous. So they had no other way. And Professor Jigoro Kano came in and said, no, we could spar, we could do competitions, and it is not lethal, that it is not too dangerous, that we can do this. And it's still dangerous, and it's still lots of injuries, but it's much better than what they had thought, which was, oh, if we try to do these moves for real, I'm going to kill you, which that wasn't the case. It wasn't like instant death. So now their application process has improved. And yeah, if you have people that only did the traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu curriculum versus the people who did the judo, oh, of course, I would put my money on the judo people without a doubt. So then we have to understand, why is this the case? And so like even in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which came later, but or even in judo, you could learn an armbar, a jujigatami, you could learn a triangle choke, whatever, right? Whatever technique, you could learn it. It doesn't mean that you can do it. So by learning it, I mean they teach it to you, they demonstrate it, you see it, and then now you practice that with a partner without resistance, and you do a lot of repetitions. Okay. Maybe you even make it a little bit more like a drill. So it's like, all right, put the person in the guard, and then from there, defend against their punches, and then go into the armbar, and then the person taps, no resistance, and then you take turns, switch back and forth, back and forth. Okay, but still, that still doesn't mean that you could apply it in real life. So that person, if that's all the training they've done, real life is going to be an eye-opener. And if you've never done full contact, it's hard to explain because you're not going to know what the hell I'm talking about. But if you could imagine what it's like to go against a fully resisting opponent that also wants to beat your head in, and they got ideas of what they want to do to you, and you don't know what they are at this point because it hasn't started yet, but they're coming after you, you're going after them. Before you're even thinking about the triangle choke, you're thinking about stuff like, how far does this person want to go? Is this life or death? You start thinking about, unless you're stupid, you know it's going to be intense. It's going to be all out. You're going to be like, I'm not going to lose to this guy. So then the pressure and all that, And most people, they don't breathe right. Shoot, they don't even breathe at all. And they become tense. And a lot of times you don't even see the first couple of seconds. There's plenty of people that they black out. What happened? I don't know. It's just the best that I could. They don't even see what happened. It's too intense. It's too fast. Before I knew it, I was punching the guy, or before I knew it, they're on top of me, or whatever. That's what it's like. So if you've never ever experienced that, and you get into a fight for the first time in your life, it's not even the opponent, it's just the fight itself makes you want to quit. You go, wait, this isn't normal. Yeah, it's not normal for you because you've never done it before. And you're going, that's a little too much. I don't think I want to keep doing this. So most brawls and fights that take place after a couple of few, it usually ends pretty quick, but that's not because, a street fight's more intense than a sport fight. No, it's because they're not trained. In a sport fight, that's unforgivable. That is not allowed to go, that was intense, I don't want any more. No, as a professional fighter, you got to keep going. So anyway, I'm not saying every street fight is short because of that reason, because no, there's other reasons why it's so short. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is just learning the techniques and drilling the techniques over and over, if that's all you've done. And when I see Balintawak people, everybody's doing the partner drills, and I don't really see a whole lot of anything else other than that. And that, to me, is a big mistake if you want to apply it in real life, which I'm assuming a lot of the people are. A lot of the people are thinking that this is realistic, and it's not, because what you're doing there, I don't have a problem with for learning purposes, because like I said, it is two different things. Learning and real life application is two different things. So they're clearly confused. They're learning it and they're thinking, yeah, this is real life. I see people, same with other styles of Kia, doing Hubud, 1-for-1, Sombrada, this kind of similar, very similar type of stuff. I see people doing it with a knife. I see people doing it empty hand, just trapping type stuff that we do in Filipino martial arts. And all of this partner drill is just for learning. You're not evolving it. So it has not been evolved for application. That's been passed down for learning purposes, but that's it. And if you're confusing that for real life application, you haven't started real life application. So it makes no sense to think that what you're doing is combat realistic, because it's not. And that sounds like I'm putting down Kia, Filipino martial arts, and Balintawak. I'm not. I'm not, because that has nothing to do, or should have nothing to do, with the reputation of it being one of the most combat realistic arts on planet Earth, or historically, that we've ever had. And therefore it's been taken up by many military and police forces. And I'm here to back up and stand to that claim. I want Kia to be known as combat realistic, and I want to keep it that way. Why? Because I love the art. Whether it's Balintawak, Filipino martial arts, Kia, I love the art. So I want it to be realistic, combat realistic, effective, practical, and tactical, because those are the reasons why it's so appealing to me. But you have to make that step. You have to take that step into combat realistic training. If you don't do it and you only do the partner drills, then that is only for learning. You've only done your ABCs. That's it. You haven't written a novel yet. And combat application means you need to be able to write books. So I don't care if you've learned your ABCDs, you could go ABC, you could sing the whole song, you could go A to Z, Z to A, you could, what do you call it? You could write words, you could make sentences, but it doesn't mean that you're ready to go in and do full-blown conversations with a native. It doesn't mean that you can do that. That's a whole different animal. And anybody who studied foreign language knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's usually the final step, is to be able to just do conversation back and forth with a native. That's the final test. And that's like combat application. Okay. So only in the martial arts world do we have this problem where people do, the education part, and they think, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for the real thing. And it's like, no. If I taught English as a foreign language to somebody that is a non-native, and they learn it, and then I go, okay, so I think you've been talking with me, so I'm at a fluent native level. You're ready to go do that with someone else. They're not going to go, yeah, I'm ready. They're going to go, oh, no, I'm not ready. Every single foreign student will say that. I don't think I've ever met one that would say, oh yeah, I'm totally ready. No. If they've never lived over, they've never done this kind of thing, and they've only studied with me like this. So only in martial arts do we have this problem. I don't get it. But anyway, just because you could do the exercise doesn't mean you can fight. And another example, my boxing coach. I remember I showed him a videotape of this heavyweight kickboxer, and the guy was hitting a punching bag. It was actually a punching dummy, but he was hitting it, one of those heavy ones. He was doing beautiful combinations. This is a K1 level kickboxer. And I showed it to my coach, and I said, what do you think? Do you think this guy is going to do well in the next K1 tournament? And my coach said, just because they look good on the bag doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean they could really fight. It doesn't mean it's going to translate in the ring. He's like, there's a lot more that happens when you actually fight. There's a lot more, Can he handle the nerves? Can he listen to his corner? There's a lot of things. Can he handle frustration? Can he handle pain? All this kind of stuff. Does he have heart? Um, so yeah, uh, this is the kind of thing that I'm telling you guys. It's just because you look good, and that's the problem with Kia. Too much of it, I feel like, or I like almost every video I've seen, like 90%, people are just, I could tell, it looks like they're just concerned about looking good. Look, I'm smooth with this partner drill now. I've done it so many times. Look at how good I look. Look at how fast I look. Doesn't mean anything. And the worst part is you don't even understand combat because you don't know what combat is. So now let me get to that part, right? What is combat? More importantly, where does Balintawak fit? How do you use it in real life, right? That is the problem because everyone's practicing it and they think that's the way it's going to go, which clearly tells me they don't know real combat. They think it's going to look like that, and it's not. If you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. Listen to your grandmaster. Your grandmaster's words. Two things that I've noticed that the grandmaster said was that real life will not look like this. So I just said that, but listen to your grandmaster. Okay? Your Balintawak grandmaster says real combat does not look like the partner drills that we're doing. That's from him, not from me. Number two, in real life, if we were to actually try to use this, it's going to be a split second. It's not going to be like this where you're going on and on and on and on and, those fast exchanges. He said, no, it's going to be a split second. Two very, very, very important clues to figure out how does Balintawak work in real life. And so every Balintawak person should be asking themselves this. How do I use this in real life? And one obvious clue is to put on equipment and go full contact, obviously. And you see that it's quite different. And then start going without the equipment, but with less intensity and less force so that you don't get hurt, and go spar that way, controlled sparring. And then you have to use your imaginations to fill in the blank and go, oh, in real life we would have just brawled. In real life I can't, this is not controlling the arm, this is just, I'm touching his arm. That doesn't do anything. He can easily get out of that. That's useless. Well, it's not useless, but you get what I'm saying. It needs to be modified. So then what is missing here? There's two things missing, but first, if you look at Balintawak, if you look at what they're doing, it's obviously medium range, close range. It's relatively close. So that is obvious. It's not on the ground, and it's not long range. So those are my four ranges of combat: long range, medium range, close range, and ground range. All combat will fall into that, and it's black and white clear that it's not long range, because that's your outer range. Think of like point fighting, think of like fencing, that's long range. Think of like point taekwondo, that kind of thing, like a game of tag is point fighting kind of. And I don't mean to insult it, because it's actually, to me, super realistic. That's what I would use in the street. I don't want to get close in a street. So anyway, you want to be far away as possible, out of their reach. That's long range. So Balintawak is not long range. Ground range is, watch the UFC, watch any amateur wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's ground range. So clearly it's not rolling around on the ground doing submissions. So it's not ground range. So that leaves us with medium range and close range. Which one is it? That's the tricky part. But at least we narrowed it down. Okay? And the fact that they can hit each other, that tells me that's medium range. But the fact that they could trap, which is you can grab, that tells me it's close range. So which one is it? Well, I think it's both. I think it's going from medium range into close range. It's an entry. Balintawak is an entry skill. You're going in from medium range into close range. So if that's what you're doing, then it makes sense that it's both ranges, and it also makes sense that the Grandmaster said it only occurs for a split second, because an entry is boom, you enter. That's a split second. It's not medium range where you're a kickboxer or a boxer and you keep hitting them, and you stay in medium range. And MMA fighters have learned this, or even boxers know this, is you want to avoid the guy from clinching you, because that's how they can rest. You want to keep hitting them. So you're hitting them and you got to keep that distance. MMA fighters the same. You'll get taken down if you get too close. So you want to hit them and you want to keep the right distance. So that is a little bit higher skill than someone that just strikes as hard as they can. So you are going you're starting in medium range where you can hit each other, and you're going into close range. That is Balintawak. And in order for you to understand where that fits in combat, is, like I said, it is an entry, which means it's right in between medium range and close range, which also means in order to understand this entry, you need to understand medium range, you need to understand close range. In other words, you need to train both. And if you don't train in medium range and you don't train in close range, then your Balintawak is not going to work. It's not going to work. Why? Because this is the before, this is the after. The during is Balintawak. If that's your main thing, that's where you want to put the focus on, that's fine, but you need to know the before and after. You can't just have one, just the entry, because then, okay, you have let's think of the UFC. That's an easy example. I am a guy who has an awesome entry, which means I have a great double leg takedown. Okay, I have an amazing double leg takedown. Okay, I take the guy down, but I don't know anything about grappling. I don't know anything about the ground. I take the guy down, they reverse me, they're on top, they submit me. I take the guy to the ground and they submit me, they put me in a leg lock, and I tap out. I almost made that happen. So it's useless, okay? But then let's think about also this, right? I have an awesome takedown, but I don't know anything about stand-up striking, so I don't know when's the right time to go in. I have no idea. So it's 50-50 whether I get the takedown or they knock me out. It's a 50-50 chance. So then who knows what's going to happen? So that's not very good. 50-50 is not a good chance that you want on the streets. You want to decrease the failure chance, the failure rate, as much as possible. So that totally doesn't make sense, all right? So then, yes, you need to know the timing, so then you need to train medium range Kia. And I've noticed that there are different styles of Filipino martial arts: Kia, Kali, Escrima, Arnis. And the one that I've seen is, for example, Lightning Escrima is one that from my viewpoint, they're very good at medium range combat. Balintawak is, like I said, you're going from medium range into close range, so they're very good at that takedown. That's their specialty. And then there's other styles. Most of us, I think, fall into the category of, if you had to use your Kia for real, how would you do it? And the way we would is probably long range. So therefore, a lot of us actually fall into long range. Or maybe if you're more of a beginner in your style of Kia, you're definitely, if you have any kind of intelligence at all, you would be in long range. Okay. Um, so you have to understand the medium range minimum, because that's, you have to see the timing of when you could rush in and do your Balintawak. And then once you're there, once you are there in close range equals the clinch. Close range and the clinch are the same thing. So what is clinch fighting? It's stand-up grappling. That's the main thing. So I don't see, once again, anyone in Balintawak doing medium range stuff. I don't see anyone that I've seen in these YouTube videos, tons of Balintawak videos on social media, Twitter, Instagram, I've seen tons. I don't see anyone doing medium range and close range. Close range is you're grappling. You're doing like Greco-Roman, stand-up grappling. So if I don't see that, which I don't, just lock flow is the learning part of that. Lock flow. And it's not the application part. The application part is you're going to be pummeling, which is a common exercise in Greco-Roman. So if you're not doing stuff like pummeling, which is a great partner drill, but the Greco-Roman wrestlers and freestyle wrestlers, they treat that as a warm-up drill. To them, that's all it is. It's more than that, but it's a warm-up drill for a lot of those guys. And from there, they could work off a little bit better stuff, but not better, more, they could add complex stuff. But really, they spar. Those guys spar, So I'm not saying that's the answer, because sparring is just injury prone. So I still believe that Filipino martial arts had done it right with the partner drills, but you have to evolve them. You have to evolve them. And at one point, you do need to spar a little bit, just enough to where you know what combat looks like, what it feels like, what it tastes like. No, not what it tastes like, but you get what I mean, You have to know that. And everybody's different. Some people, they start doing combat sports and they get addicted to it and they think that's the answer, and it's not. But you definitely need to know it. So I think I've explained that in order for Balintawak and pretty much trapping, all kinds, whether it's Wing Chun or Jeet Kune Do, to me that is what trapping is. Okay, that's what it is. It's an entry. And gosh, this is so crazy because if you are going to enter, you have to understand that if you are going to enter, so you do like a pak sao, in Wing Chun, and we have similar stuff in Filipino martial arts. You do a slap and a punch, pak sao. You do something like that, okay? From there, if you're not grappling, then the compound traps, they're not going to work, because those are, like I said, this is for learning. You're going to find out that in order to keep going and you want to keep punching, you have to go into like pummeling. And if you don't, you need to break off back into long range. Okay, so the problem is the drills that you're doing is you pak sao, you lop sao, you keep working on the Wing Chun dummy, and you keep landing all these amazing looking strikes. It's super fast, it's super impressive looking, but it's only for show. Unless, like I said, you can go into the grappling after that, immediately after that, because like the Grandmaster said, it only lasts for a split second. Or you need to have the skills to break off safely. If not, you're going to be brawling there, because it's going to be an exchange. You could lopsow them, they could also hit you back. You go, no, 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 I have their hand. You don't have their hand. That is not having their hand. And that's something that I learned through testing Filipino martial arts, is that, and that's where I developed the word worming, worm, earthworm. You do this someone's hand, they could keep cutting you. They could break. It doesn't take much to get the hand out. And if you've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a person's grabbing your sleeve, and you can break free. And that's with the sleeve. The sleeve's even harder to get out, but you can still break free. So people's idea of you could, and now that hand is useless, is no. And that's why in Filipino martial arts, we cross the hands. In Wing Chun, it's a no-no. We cross the hands and we can still fight from here. Heaven 6 is open, close, open, close. That's crossing the hands. So for me, I've never seen that as a problem. Like I said, from a Wing Chun standpoint, that's a no-no. But unless and then I've seen some Wing Chun people and Jeet Kune Do people say, if you're really gonna trap, you have to really put your weight on it. Now it's getting more realistic. When you start telling me that, it starts getting more realistic. So please, and then like I said, the next level to that is your clinch grappling. You're putting all your weight into it. You're pushing them up against the wall. Now they can't get that hand out. Now I believe that. But until then, no, that's not controlling the arm. That's not good enough. Like if you're just going to do this, then you better get ready to break off real fast and get the hell out of there, right? Because it's coming. They're coming. Like I said, worming. So if I have a blade, even if I don't have a blade, I'm getting my hand out and I'm going to figure out ways to strike you. So Thai boxers collapse their arm, and here comes the elbow, right? And the elbow and the punch, even boxing, comes from very different angles. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So please understand that I am not against Balintawak. I am a fan of Balintawak. Before in the past, I felt like me saying this stuff was just too negative. So I'm saying, let's make Balintawak combat realistic. And what do you need to do to make that happen? Is you need to understand where it fits in combat. So I'm saying it's an entry. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm getting you to think, and think about it, and then start going, well, no, my Balintawak is different, Wmpyr. It's not an entry. I don't agree with you. That's fine. Develop it. Keep developing it, and then it'll become something to where you could start really using it in real life. And then good for you. I will congratulate you. I will congratulate. There's many ways to climb the mountain. For me, this is the most obvious logical explanation of what Balintawak is, which is it is an entry from medium range into close range. And if that's the case, if it is an entry, then to be able to use that entry in real life combat, you need certain things. 2 things. The ability to get there. So in medium range, you need to have the timing of not getting hit so that you could find the right time to go in, to launch your Balintawak skills. That's number 1. Number 2, once you're there, now what? Because it's going to be an exchange after that. It's not going to be you keep doing that. No, that's not. It's going to be an exchange. Therefore, you need to have something. And like I said, that's where clinch grappling for me. That's where in traditional Filipino martial arts, lock flow, but the problem with lock flow is that is educational. That is not combat application. It's missing all the grappling force, the pummeling. It's missing all of that. but it's, look at the techniques. They're obviously, you know, arm bars and stuff. They're obviously grappling moves. So it's a big hint, you know, to tell you, you know, that that's what it is. So in a grappling techniques, when do you use grappling? In a grappling situation. So you're not going to be doing that in long range. You're not going to be doing that in medium range. So anyway, yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.